All right, I think I'm ready. As long as it doesn't. Oh. Hopefully my phone don't get dark before I can read that.
Did you feel the earthquake that day?
Nuh-uh.
Tuesday?
I was moving around, so yeah, and just over to Altamont, Blackhawk. 4.5? 5.4.
4.3.
So they're bouncing all around. I got this app that shows them all. It's everywhere around us. It's just even Alaska and
The
everything.
volcano is about to erupt.
Hey, at least I got out of Idaho before they had theirs. Who would think Idaho would have one, huh? You ready? Reconvene from closed session. We have one reportable action on 2.1. The board agreed to a one-time 10% bonus was approved pursuant to Section 5 of the Fire Chiefs Agreement.
Thank you.
Roll call?
Chairman John Gish,
Here.
Vice Chair Mark Elliott,
Yeah, here.
Director Gloriana Rhodes,
Here.
Director Jeremy Coe,
Present.
Director Tosh Ishihara.
Here.
Everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Declarations of conflict of interest to my left.
None.
None.
To the right.
None.
None.
Presentations.
So at this time, we're going to, the acting executive assistant is going to be calling up our new hires. We just hired and, well, promoted and hired 3 fire captains or 4 fire captains and some engineers, 4 engineers, I believe, and 2 firefighters. So we've had a busy year. There was a lot of testing going on, some nuances to the test because one of the candidates was related to me, so we had to have outside personnel come in and do the testing process to make sure that it was done appropriately. So it made for a long testing process, but we were able to complete it, and I think that we've made some great selections, and we've got them all ready to go, and the firefighters start on the 22nd. So Haley is going to call them up and give you a little bit of background, and then I want them to meet the board and take some pictures.
Okay, first up is Fire Captain Nate Kaiser.
Come on up, Kate. Bachelorette number 2.
Nate started off with us as a reserve firefighter with our district back in 2013. He is a reserve program coordinator and also coordinates the district's participation in the MDA Fill the Boot. He is serving as the A-Shift Fire Captain at Station 32 on Engine 32.
Welcome aboard, Nate.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Fire Captain Daniel Walker. Daniel started with the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District as a firefighter engineer in 2012. Daniel heads our active shooter training program. Also, he was a pivotal role in our latest water safety campaign, which was featured in the Manteca Bulletin this past week. It highlighted our life jacket loaner stations near our waterways in the district. He is serving as an A-Shift Fire Captain at Station 34 on Engine 34. Next up, we have Fire Captain Justin Neely. Justin started off with our district as a reserve firefighter in 2013. He coordinates fire extinguisher compliance and also conducts our fire nozzle training. He is serving as a C-shift fire captain at Station 34 on Engine 34.
All right.
And lastly, we have Fire Captain Justin Hayes. Justin started with our fire district as a firefighter engineer in 2016. He is one of our fire reserve program coordinators, and he is serving as a B-shift fire captain at Station 32 on Engine 32. Next up, we have our fire engineers. We have Tyler Silva. Tyler started with our fire district as a firefighter in 2018. Tyler helps to uphold our wildland equipment maintenance. He is working as an engineer on C shift at Station 35 on Engine 35. Next up, we have Jesse Salazar II. Jesse started with us as a reserve firefighter in 2014. Jesse is the Fire Explorer Program Coordinator for the district. He is working as an engineer on C shift at Station 34 on Engine 34. Next up, we have Daniel Suarez. Daniel started with the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District as a firefighter in 2018. He helps maintain the boat and assists with our participation with MDA. He is working as an engineer on B shift at Station 31 on Truck 30. And next up, we have John Flick. John started with our fire district as a reserve firefighter in 2016. He helps to uphold our large animal rescue program, and he is currently working as an engineer on A shift at Station 34 on Engine 34.
All right.
Next up, we have our new firefighters. We have John Lagasa. John started off his fire career as a Tracy Fire Explorer and Stockton Fire Auxiliary. He went to school and completed his fire academy at Las Positas College in Livermore. He came to the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District as a reserve firefighter in 2018. He is also a Fire Explorer Post Advisor for our Explorer program. John starts his first day as a firefighter with us this upcoming Monday, July 22nd. He will serve as a firefighter on B shift at Station 31. All right, and last we have Kyle Cole. Kyle started off his fire career as a reserve firefighter with the City of Manteca Fire Department. He went to school and completed his fire academy at the Modesto Regional Fire Academy. He has also served over 3 years in CAL FIRE in the Tuolumne Calaveras unit. Kyle starts his first day as a firefighter with us this upcoming Wednesday, July 24th, and he will serve as a firefighter on C shift at Station 31.
Oh.
So we could take this opportunity to take some pictures individually with the captains and then the engineers, but one thing I want to say is the individuals, the new ones that have started, I'm sure will follow the pace, but once we hired the 11 and then we transitioned from engineer and firefighters, each one of them took the opportunity to go and either be a diver, hazmat. So everything you see in front of us is the future of our organization. They just didn't get the job and sit back and be on probation, which is tough enough. But yet they stepped it up and they did the extra. We had opportunities for them to go to hazmat. All of them jumped on the opportunity. Some of them took dive on their own just so they could be on the team. So I'm really proud of everybody in our organization, but I'm proud of the generation that is going to be leading us into the future. So thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate everything you do. And ladies. Oh. And ladies, and I would like to say my gold medalist in the back there is standing there. She'll have another day. She got 2 golds at the firefighter Olympics for us. Nice job, Simone. Come on down, take some pictures. Captains first. We'll do a badge ping coming up, but I want you guys to meet you. You tell me. Hey. That's what I said.
Yeah, for the new one.
Oh, I do. You missed that memo, I think.
All right. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. All right, and then maybe
Congratulations. All right.
Take one with you upstairs now.
All right. Okay, here, let me get over there. Here's the next batch. Oh, here we go.
All right. Ready?
Take care of him.
Here. Do we got more?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations. And by the way, you're both at 31. Around there. See, that tall, skinny man, old man, and he's waving. My husband.
Ask him about it. He was trying to show me how to shoot football. And he like jacked his thumb. I wonder if it's the same one as catfish. He watched the dude with the catfish, and the catfish locked on his thumb.
Do you guys want to take this moment to look at it, engine 5, brush 5?
Huh? Oh, yeah,
Brush
yeah.
5, and then that way we can come back.
Very exciting.
Oops.
He's watching it now, so it's on. She may have to restart it.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
Moving on. Is it going? Oh, okay. Public comment.
We do have one, go ahead.
We do have one request for public comment from Benny Gatto.
Mr. Gatto, you're on.
Thank you, Chair, Directors. My comment tonight is on our fireworks booth that we just had successful. I'd like to thank everyone who worked the fire booth this year. I think it was our biggest year yet, and according to talking to Roselle a minute ago, we sold $40,000 worth of fireworks.
Wow.
40,000, our biggest year yet. Wow. A lot of thanks goes to our firemen. They're all outside now. They were there when it was needed. I know a lot of people put in a lot of time, but I would like to give kudos to two people, and that's Roselle and Debbie. People don't realize a lot of work goes on behind the scenes, and these two do a lot of work behind the scenes that we don't know about. You know, keeping track of the fireworks, keeping track of the money, so on. But again, without the combined effort of everyone that worked, it wouldn't be successful as it is. So again, thanks to everyone, and let's do it again next year and make it bigger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Benny.
It was a very successful year, just behind the fire themselves, with the combination of different events that they put on with the pancake breakfast. They sold apparel too, and they had, we actually sold some apparel for the union also. They had apparel there that was for sale. And with the fireworks, I think that we did a little bit of estimation, and there'll be somewhere over $20,000 in the account that will go to events for the fire families and our fire families and everybody to enjoy. So they do a lot. I do see the effects when my wife, Roselle, who's the president, but when she comes home from working on the fireworks booth, I try not to say too much. I get in trouble if I do, but she's pretty tired throughout the days. And Debbie does a phenomenal job with getting everything set up, making sure she's crossing T's, making sure it's organized on the shelf, and does a great job. So I want to thank them both myself for everything they do. Thank you very much. Okay, consent calendar.
Consent calendar?
Consent calendar item 8.1, June 6, 2019, special board meeting, budget study session minutes. 8.2, June 20th, 2019, special board meeting minutes. 8.3, June 20th, 2019, regular board meeting minutes. 8.4, monthly register of warrants. 8.5, receive and file June 2019 incident and training report. 8.6, receive and file monthly year-to-date budget report.
Anything to be pulled or entertain a motion?
If nobody's going to pull anything, I will move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.6.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Director Rhodes?
Yes.
Director Ko?
Yes.
Director Ishihara?
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott?
Yes.
Chairman Gish?
Yes. Public hearings.
Okay, so we have to approve, this is a public hearing. I'll go over the presentation. We approved a preliminary budget last month. I'm just going to go over the changes from the preliminary to the regular so that we don't have to go through the whole budget. There was a few items that got changed, and so we'll go through that as fast as possible, and then we'll look for, open the public hearing for any comment, close it, and then adopt the budget. So the first item that we have there, what the fund balance was, thank you. This one's a little small, so I have to get my glasses. The preliminary, we had a reserve fund account of $750, and the final budget for the fund balance for the January 30th is $1.6 million. The variance between the preliminary and the final is $850,000. So there's $850,000 increase in our reserve account. For the final budget, there was an overfund of, or a rollover that would have happened for the 1920 budget of $381,000. After we did some changes within the new, we had to change some allocations towards retirement and the different items that came up from the preliminary to the final. It did decrease the rollover for this year, or the excess from 2019 to 2020 budget will be $185,000. It does still give us a nice barrier or buffer, so to speak. The difference was minus $195,000. The final budget expenditures, the preliminary budgeted was 1.1. On the reserve fund, there's zero expenditures, I'm sorry. And then the fund balance of 1.1, so 1.7. So there's a difference of $654,000 in the estimated fund at the end. The general fund expenditures changed from 10 million, 10.7 to 11.3, difference of 598,000. And then the preliminary, that was the revenue, the expenditures did change from 10.3 to 11.1, which is a difference of 794,000. The preliminary overage or excess from 381 again to 185, which is a difference of 195,000. Capital outlay stayed the same. I don't think there was any changes. Same for the fire facility fee account, the Measure C account, and then the developer account all stayed the same. So the only changes in the fund are actually in the reserve fund. We increased that, and the general fund, we had some increases in expenditures. Oh, I'm sorry, you changed it. We're both changing it, so go ahead. Okay. So then the opening balance, we did change. We added a little opening balance into this year's fiscal budget from $785 to $805,000. The property tax did increase. We got some more accurate numbers, went up $78,000. I believe it will go up more than that. They tend to bring in the last part. We're right in the middle of the entity report. And if you remember, the entity report is our override tax. We get that fund or allocations of where that money's supposed to be coming in from, and typically we go through, for instance, I would bet money that Wayfair's building's not on there, but it's going to be, it should be. So we go through there and make sure that of the buildings that are ready to be put on the tax roll, get put on the tax roll. So I believe that we'll have a significant increase in property tax and override tax as we go through the entity report, but it doesn't get done until August, and we have to adopt the budget in July. So intergovernmental stayed the same, and miscellaneous also stayed the same. The general funds, the only change obviously was the property tax of $78,000. Then with salary and benefits, that did change. We had an increase from the preliminary budget of $281,000. And then there was an increase in insurance because when the cost, your workman's comp insurance is based on your salaries and benefits, your salaries. So there was an increase in $19,000. That's where the salaries increased 147. Retirement went up 117. Social Security obviously goes up as the salaries increase. Workman's comp, there's an increase there of 13,000. Salary and benefits, 281,000. Insurance, 13,000 for the overall. And is there any questions? That was the only changes to the budget. Okay, open up public hearing. Jared?
Open up public hearing. Have any comments from the public? Seeing none, close it, bring it back to the board. Any comments? Entertain a motion to adopt the budget.
I make a motion that we approve and adopt resolution HR 2019-06, 2019-2020 fiscal year annual budget.
I'll go ahead and second that.
I'll second. Oh.
I think Jeremy beat you to it.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Director Rhodes,
Yes.
Director Coe,
Yes.
Director Ishihara,
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott,
Yes.
Chairman Gish.
Yes. Scheduled items, 10.1, approve amendment to the fire chief's employment agreement.
Are you asking for comments, questions, or I'm ready to vote?
Go ahead and make a motion.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve amendment to fire chief's employment agreement.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Director Rhodes,
Yes.
Director Coe,
Yes.
Director Ishihara,
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott,
Yes.
Chairman Gish.
Yes. 10.2, receive and adopt fire facility fee technical report.
Okay, I want to bring in our consultant. This year, we talked about earlier that we needed to change the fire impact fee, the fire facility fees, which we commonly know them as. So we hired NBS to come in and do an analysis, a really thorough technical report. We have done technical reports in the past, and I'm sure they were fine then. But we really needed to look at everything, all of the new building coming in. How, are we going to be able to pay for stations and engines and all the equipment that we're going to need for the development impacts that are coming down the road? So Joe Colgan, correct, is going to do the presentation for the impact fee study.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Gish, board members. First thing I'd like to mention is that, as you see on the slide, we've titled this an impact fee study, and after discussing it with the chief and based on past practice, I think it would be better we will change it in the report to title the report as a fire facilities fee report to be consistent with past practice. That's what the city of Lathrop, that's a terminology they use. So throughout this presentation and in the report, we've used the term impact fee, and so we'll make those adjustments. Assuming the board adopts the report tonight, before it goes to the city, we'll make those adjustments so they'll be comfortable with the terminology. See if I can figure out how to do this.
Press,
I don't know if
like,
there we go. All right. So we'll start with just a definition of impact fee or fire facilities fee. It's a one-time charge that's imposed on new development as a condition of approval to pay for capital facilities needed to serve new development. So one stipulation is that the money may not be used to pay for maintenance or operations. It's strictly for capital facilities. Now, the Fire Protection District Law of 1987 contains the provision that you see there, which says that essentially a fire district itself may not adopt fees for construction or development of public improvements or facilities or the acquisition of equipment. So that's why the city, in this case, has to adopt the fees. This study calculates fees for the portion of the district that's within the city of Lathrop. Now, the chief may talk about this more if you're interested. We looked at the unincorporated portion of the district and decided, since there's so much uncertainty about what might develop there, it's very difficult to project. And there is the likelihood that if a large project comes in, there would be a development agreement that would allow the district to work with with the county to make the necessary provisions for additional facilities if that's appropriate. And there are existing fees. The county has adopted existing fees for the district within the unincorporated areas. So this study is dealing strictly with the portion of the district that's within the city. Now, cities and counties, when they adopt these fees, there are a number of legal rules that they have to follow. There are two kinds of things, really, that they have to deal with. One is constitutional law. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution says that public property may not be taken for public use without just compensation. And regulations, and these fees in effect are land use regulations. So they have to there are certain ways that they're tested to see if they comply with, if they're legitimate in light of the constitutional case law regarding the Fifth Amendment. So the rule is that there has to be a nexus or connection between the fees and the impact of development on the need for facilities. And one way to break that down, I think it's convenient to think of it as having three elements. The nexus has three elements, first of which is that development must create a need for the facilities that are funded by the fees. The second is development must receive a benefit from the facilities that are funded by the fees. And the third is that the fees on any project have to be proportional to the impact of that project on the need for facilities. So that's kind of the general constitutional framework. And the second part of it is the California Mitigation Fee Act, our state statute dealing with impact fees, has different language which essentially says the same thing. It requires when the fees are adopted, it requires the governing board of the agency adopting the fees to make certain findings. They have to identify the purpose of the fee, the use of the fee, and then they have to show a reasonable relationship between the use of the fee and the type of project on which the fee is imposed. Now that's the benefit element this is really different language but similar concept to the three nexus elements I showed you on the last slide. Second reasonable relationship finding has to do with the need for the facility and the type of project on which it is imposed. That's more the impact or need component. And then the last one is proportionality, the amount of the fee, reasonable relationship between the amount of the fee and the facility cost attributable to the specific project that's paying the fee. So how do we comply with the law when we calculate these fees? In this case, when we're looking at fire protection and emergency medical services, all new development creates a need for these services. So that's pretty much automatically covered. By the same token, all development really receives a benefit from the availability of having fire protection and emergency medical services available. And so the one we really have to pay attention to in this case is proportionality. How do we calculate the fees in such a way that they reflect the impacts of various types of development on the need for district facilities, apparatus, vehicles, and so on. So the way we did that in this study is we allocated the costs of all those capital assets based on square feet of building area, which is essentially the same way the district has done it in the past. And we took existing facilities, we valued all the existing facilities except stations 32 and 33, and I'll mention that in a minute. So we used depreciated value for those existing assets because they're, in effect, new development is buying into the entire system of fire protection assets that the district has. So to be fair, we feel that those existing facilities should be depreciated. Then future facilities are costed out at current cost estimates, and the impact fee per square foot is simply taking all the costs divided by all the existing and future square footage of building area within the city to get to a fee per square foot. So this is just a summary of how we valued the existing and future facilities. So you can see that at the top, the fire stations, well, existing and future fire stations and the proposed training facility came out to a little over $44 million. And then existing and future apparatus, vehicles, and equipment came out to another just over $10 million for a grand total of $54,327,200. And the reason we did not include stations 32 and 33 in this calculation is because they're outside the city, and we wanted to be careful not to recognize the fact that the district does serve the unincorporated area, and we did not want to bring in costs that could be seen as unrelated to the cost of serving development within the city. Then the existing and future development, right? The current existing total building areas that we estimated at 39 million and change square feet. Future building area, residential and non-residential, would add an estimated 65 million square feet. So that comes out to a little over 104 million square feet at build out of the city. So this is just a little graphic showing the calculation. It starts at the upper left, goes clockwise around the slide. So at the top left, you see the numbers we just talked about on the other slide, 54 million divided by 104 million, comes out to 52 cents a square foot. Then we added a 2% administrative charge, which comes out to another 1 cent. And the total fee we're recommending is 53 cents a square foot. And that's what we're proposing to present to the city. In terms of projected revenue, the estimated cost of all future fire stations, the training facility, apparatus, vehicles, and equipment comes out to, in the study, $37,340,000. And projected revenue from these impact fees, or fire facility fees, I should say, comes out to $32,485,000. So that's a shortfall of about $4.8 million. And one thing I think is worth mentioning is that amount is enough, the revenue is enough to pay for all 3 future fire stations along with the associated apparatus and equipment, and roughly half of the training facility. We had a $10 million cost in this study for a new training facility. And so, in essence, about half of the new training facility would have to be funded from other sources. And that's kind of the bottom line. And I think that's fair because the district doesn't have a training facility now, and so new development can't be expected to pay for the whole thing. That's pretty much it. And so if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or try to.
Any questions to my left?
What is the fees right now?
I should have mentioned that, but
That's okay, I can cover that.
Go
So
ahead,
right
Chief.
now,
Okay.
it's 31 cents a square foot for residential, and it is 43 cents a square foot for commercial. So we went back and forth on having a difference between residential and commercial, and Joe and Nicole felt that, I have another one, felt that it would be better to go with one across the board because square footage is square footage when you're responding to that. And so I think it made sense, and then it kind of covers it. It'll be an easy calculation. One of the things with, and Joe was, I was going to mention, was that the reason why we're leaving it as is in the county. We're not going to change the current, so there will be fees collected in the county, and those will be applied to development that we get, but it's very small and minimal, and so it's really hard to even go through the whole process of going into the Board of Supervisors because they would have to approve the fees to get it changed. We felt the biggest impact for our organization is the city of Lathrop, and that's why we focused on the city of Lathrop. But the fees are 53 cents a square foot. Now, I've talked to, so when we reached out, I did personally reached out to a couple of the developers, and so when we talked to Susan, River Islands would be the biggest one. She's on board with this because she knew that obviously she's impacted to build stations, and the fee has to be in place in order to pay back the money that she puts up front to build our stations and buy our apparatus. And so she is on board with the increase. She knew it was coming down the road, and that was one of our biggest ones that we had. I've already mentioned it to the city, had a conversation with them, and they understand that it costs money. They just redid all their fees, and so everybody's fees have been increasing, even the county's increasing prevention fees and everything. So this is just another step, and MBS works with the city on their stuff too, on different aspects. So that's why we bring it to you. The board approves it, and then we take it, and Joe and Nicole will come to the city council meeting. The presentation will be similar, the staff report, and it'll get approved for us to collect those fees within the city. That's how the process works.
Yes. I understand why you left 32 and 33 out. That makes sense. I do understand that. But if you would have included 32 and 33, where do you think that number would have been? And I don't expect you to know the number.
We
Would
actually
it be
did look at that. I don't
upper or
remember the
lower?
exact number. It's really a small difference,
Okay.
very small. Because those are older stations, once you depreciate them, it doesn't add a lot to the total value of the existing facilities, so it would have made a very small difference. And we could certainly get back to you if you'd like with the actual
Would it
number.
made a difference up or?
It would have been up a little bit, sure. But we felt that we should recognize that even though I'm sure those stations respond to calls in the city,
They do.
that we were trying to be a little bit conservative about what we included, and we wanted to recognize the fact that there is that unincorporated area out there that's being served by the district. And so we thought that was a reasonable compromise.
And I completely get that, but I do want to make sure the public does understand that Station 32 and 33 do run a number of calls within the city, and those are necessary at large-scale events, structure fires, or whatever else. So,
And I think we
I could argue that there is a benefit to those, but I do understand why you left them out. It's
And I
easier
think
to
we do
sell.
say mention in the report that those stations do respond in the city.
Yeah. It's just for the funding
I
is the only reason
completely
why.
understand.
But they do respond, and they are impacted by the development. And so how those benefits work is the reverse order of how the development, how the city then responds to them, that rural areas with, you know what I mean, the same sort of response that the city gets. So I think that's how it works hand in hand. But the only reason why I know it doesn't feel comfortable, and I get that. We went back and forth a couple times. There was a couple meetings that we had with this and a phone call. But we felt this would be the best way to explain the funding. So,
Absolutely. I do get that.
thank you.
Any questions to the Rick?
I do, and you explained it. And I feel a little bit uncomfortable that we are leaving 32 and 33 out, but I do understand. It still bugs me. The other thing, I lost my train of thought in terms of the second thing I had.
And maybe you'll catch
Yeah.
it, but I'll give you a little bit background. We can come back to 32s. If something happens and they do bring in a development, we can easily come back and then re-adopt and go to the county and have them adopt the same fee structure. One of the things that we want to put in this is going to be an escalator, because the reason why it's gone up, that's going to be the sobering fact, is it's gone from 31 and 43 to 53. Well, the problem is we didn't have an escalator in there. We hadn't built anything to really look. I mean, the last station we built was Station 34, was $2.8 million. Things have gone up, and recently, within the last 6 months, expeditionally, right? They are just crazy with cost. Concrete is more, wood is more. And so when we built this last station, it wasn't far from the design to it went up $2 million. And so I think as we look through, if something happens out in the rural area, then we're going to make sure, and we're going to have that development. Unfortunately, every time they develop, it gets annexed, and so we don't even get the benefit. The only one we do have is Oakwood Shores, and that's why I said it's minimal, but really 34s, and everybody responds to that together. So we're not losing fact that those are our stations, and we're going to maintain them, and that doesn't mean anything. This is just to get through the development portion.
Well, you're on a roll tonight because you've answered my questions before I've had to make them.
Sorry,
Because
sorry.
as you were talking, that was going to be my question. If something major does develop out there, is it going to fall under us or would it be annexed into the city of Manteca? Because then it goes both ways. It goes also in terms of, the pressure that would be put upon those two stations if something major was added out there.
Yeah.
And then my other thing was, I think that I do like the idea very much of using one fee. Some of the projects that are projected for the future in Lathrop include commercial in the first floor and residential in the second floor. So that would have been a nightmare to try to figure out what the fee would have been with that. And I do hope that cities go in those directions. I mean, if I get really old, I'd love to live above a store.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. And that, I'm okay with it then.
Okay, thank you.
You had one more question?
So I did have one more question. She made me think of it again. Neighboring areas, do we have any idea how much theirs currently are, or is there any reason to even compare it?
So we tried to do that, and it's kind of, I don't think we had anything everybody's a little different because Manteca does a bonus buck. They have bonus bucks you buy, and then there's property that's given. Did you have anything to add to that?
No, I think Nicole looked at that.
Yeah.
She did that research.
Yeah, it's hard to compare, and so it falls back down to you just have to have a technical report that justifies it, and everybody does it a little bit different. We looked at one of the other things besides square footage. We looked at population, looking at the actual calculation based on not population. I guess that's a wrong word, but the impact of people. So because you have even a commercial has so many people, right? I think 3 workers is considered 1 resident. We looked at different ways to look, but the square footage has really worked for us, and it keeps us to where we were without changing the whole methodology of how we calculate it, and so that's why we stayed with it.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? All right, entertain a motion to receive and adopt the fire facility fee technical report. That's what you're after, right?
Yep.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Director Rhodes?
Yes.
Director Coe?
Yes.
Director Ishihara?
Yes.
Vice Chair Elliott?
Yes.
Chairman Gish?
Yes. Informational items.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
We're good? Okay. All right, thank you. We'll see you at the...
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Talking to you about the resolution.
Okay, yep. So, the open houses. So, Station 31 was phenomenal. We got a lot of people came in. The crews did a great job with setup. Station 31 always gets a significant amount of people that come through there. Great job, great feedback from the public. Station 32, I attended both of them. 31, I came a little late. 32, I came a little early. A few people showed up, but not a whole bunch. But yet, it's nice to still have it because family still gets to come and, just because it's not, neighbors in the area. But a few people did show up and came by and had hot dogs, and it was a nice event. They did a good job with putting that one together too. Station 33 is this weekend, so it'll be Sunday. And then Station 34 is July, and now we're stretching over a month now that we got 5 stations. And then August 4th will be Station 35. So we're looking forward to it. I think we're getting a lot of good feedback. The CERT shows up, Behind the Fire shows up. They've been there to make sure if anybody wants to order shirts. They're going to have shirts available at Station 35. So instead of doing it every station, if people want them, we're just taking orders or bringing them to them or dropping them off, and then Station 35, they'll have them for sale. It's a bigger station, obviously. It'll be more accommodating. And then the CERT comes out there and shows up, and, if anybody wants to sign up, they do CPR demonstration, hands only. If you want to learn how to do hands only CPR, it's a great time. And so I think it's been successful. I think it's been one of our great goals, and we're going to continue to conduct those and have those every year. CSDA Leadership Academy Conference. We had Director Rhodes and Director Ishihara went there. And I had executive, because I had meetings that day too. I think the 8th I had the PG&E blackout, so I had here, or else I'd have been up there with you, and then I had the next day with legislation in Sacramento, and then I had something on Wednesday too. But Haley came back and said that there was a great conference and learned a lot, and they split it up according to Director Rhodes this year. So if you attended before, they had another session where you actually learned different. And because if you've gone a couple times, sometimes it's regurgitated stuff, but it's always something new. There's always new stuff. But it sounds like they really did a good job with it. Haley came back with some great information and questions for me. And so it always puts me on the spot when they come back with questions like how come and why do we, and we do a lot, and there's other people that do stuff. So it's a great opportunity to network and learn and expand on what we do and give people opportunity to learn from us, because we do some stuff good. So it was good. I don't know if the directors want to have any feedback on that. No?
I was going to do it later, I can do it now.
It's up to you.
I was so proud. Look at my name tag this year.
Oh, boy.
It has the blue governance recognition, and I was looking around, and there might have been somebody else that also had the blue one. I didn't see any. So I want to thank staff, because even though it is on your evaluation, you can only facilitate the means for us to get there, but it's been easy to do this. So I was very proud, and I will hand over my certificate. I've been going to these things, whether it was with the city, with the council, with the planning commission. I even went to a couple of mayors, one when I was mayor, with the fire district. I've gone to conferences from work and everything else when I was still employed and not retired. And I got to tell you that they did a really good job with a returning one, because they really got down to questions that at the end of gaining the knowledge, those questions may pop up in your mind. Oh, well, gee, if you have to do this, how do you do it? They also had a session at the end that was strictly on new legislation and legislation coming up. And they drilled down and they gave us on the information. One that was very peculiar to me is that now they have also lumped the any security cameras to the Public Records Act. So if we have security cameras, which I don't think we do, but if we did, and for some of the elected there, they were like, how in the world do you keep, tapes for, because it's gone up. It used to be 1 year, now it's 2 years. So, but a lot of different things, and some things that affect, there was a couple of things, but we're getting them through your staff as well. They're coming straight here. But things that affect, it seemed like the ones that were more difficult to achieve really pertain to fire districts. So, one of those things. But one of the things too is, I gotta tell you is, no offense to anyone that was there or whatever, but when you hear interactions from other staff, other board members, you realize what you really have. And as I sat through these sessions and I heard some of the comments, all I could think about is how fortunate we are. We have a board that really understands and is knowledgeable of what they're supposed to do. We have a chief that goes above and beyond in terms of knowing. I heard some questions by fire chiefs that I was shocked, but no offense, they're in a different place. And board members, when somebody would say something, it's like, well, what's that? And I got a lot of what's that. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank the board, because obviously we've grown. We could have, as new board members came in, as time went by, we could have gone backwards, but we keep growing regardless of changes or anything else. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it was very beneficial as a board member, but besides, some of them didn't want to talk during the session, but some of them I went for early breakfast and evening time, but was able to talk on one-to-one personal, and found out that there was some of them, they had problem, board members, they couldn't get along, okay?
I know.
And talking about, then I was telling about ours and our fire chief, and he says, you're really fortunate, better keep them. Because it's hard to find real good. And this is kudos to you, Chief, because we're fortunate to have someone like you. So, going to that conference, it really made me feel real good about our district,
Thank you. Thank you. So we have another one coming up, CSDA in September. I think it's the 25th through the, I think we got everything for you, 25th through the 28th. That's the main CSDA conference. So we'll be seeing if anybody, it's in Anaheim. So we can drive and fly at we can do both if people want to drive or someone to fly. So we'll make sure that we have all the accommodations ready. We'll get that out. So, all right. I have presentation of new fire engine, but I put that in front. I got that prematurely on that, so I'm sorry about that. Other than that, I look at we got some of the goals and objectives out. We did provide training for 2 board members underneath the provide a pathway, establish new methods of communication that identify district strengths, and so we conducted our first quarterly address. I did that using the Nail-em app. I called it Nail It app during the thing, and I didn't realize it until after it got posted. But we did the Nail-em app, went on there, did a quarterly address, and I think I may do something a little bit sooner because we do have firefighter Lion Dacus did bring home two gold medals and records from the firefighter Olympics
Wow.
for bench press and deadlift. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The record by a landslide, too.
Yeah, set the record by a landslide for her weight. So, so we may do a quarterly address and post that on.
Very cool.
I'm kind of hesitated to do those because I get a little nervous in front of the camera, but it did come out okay. So I think I'll probably fumble through the next one though. But so we are doing identification, getting out there, quarterly address, and then we conducting open houses for providing support and volunteer service to enhance our mission. We are doing quarterly training or monthly training we want to really ramp up the CERT with the PG&E outage and everything. We're going to be falling on them and utilizing them a lot more than we ever have. So they're supposed to have training, get them oriented to the vehicle, how to get ice, how to work through the system, and then we'll be getting them hopefully on callbacks and doing that kind of stuff. We've been fortunate. It's been a slow year for out-of-county stuff, and our neighbors have had a lot of fires, but we've been lucky.
Wow.
We've dodged some bullets, so I'm hoping it stays that way. We're looking really good out there. And I think that's all I have. Yep. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. And thank you for acknowledging the hard work that we all do, and my staff and the firefighters. It really means a lot when it comes from the dais up there. Thank you, for all of you.
You're welcome. Board comments and referrals start to my right.
In the same lines of the conference, nosy me, I met a firefighter that probably could be my grandson. I mean, not a firefighter, a fire chief. So I was really curious about, where he was a fire chief, So I went in their website and everything else, checking it out. But they're extremely small, and I mean, he pretty much grew up in the fire business. But one thing that I found amazing, they have one station where everything happens, all of the equipment is there, all of the administration is there, everything is there. And then they have a little shack up in the mountains where they keep some other stuff. But maybe because they are so small, they have in their website, and they also have in their station, a photo and a little write-up of every firefighter. Now, and reserves and everybody else. Now, we are, much larger, and that would be but it was so, I mean, I really enjoyed reading it. It was almost like I knew them in some way. So, you know, as we move forward, maybe in the future, I'll bring it up when we do our next goal setting or whatever. But it just became so personal, you know, just to know. And then I was looking for them. Okay, did he bring that one? Oh, okay, yeah, he's the younger one, the one that has, you know, it's almost like we knew them. So the firefighters then become more family.
Yeah, more
than,
personal.
I mean, they are already, but they even become more family to the
public, yeah.
citizens of the district.
And so it was on the webpage? And
Yeah,
so-
they have it on the web. God, I forgot, it was Bursco? Do you remember? Yeah, that one,
Berstrom.
We could, yeah.
Bexworth
Bet-
or something like
Yeah,
that.
we had a hard time pronouncing it, as you can tell. But, yeah, if you go in the website, you'll see it's
Yeah.
really neat.
Yeah, no, I'm interested. I'd love to do that. Especially with the new webpage coming up and,
Yeah.
Oh, that's right,
yeah,
yeah.
no, that's great. That's a great idea.
And that's it.
Vice Chairman?
It's been a wonderful month, and, working at the fire booth was great. It's just amazing the amount of, hopefully the other booths did as well, because it was amazing to see the amount that was sold there. It's a great blessing on the community, and, knock on wood, we're thankful for, overall, I think we did really well, like you said, with the fires. We dodged some bullets, but it's been a lot safer, so that's been wonderful. But, yeah, thank you to everybody. It's been a lot of work.
To my left, Tosh.
First, I want to thank Haley for driving us. Excellent driver.
Oh, yeah.
I was able
Yeah,
to relax
you
back
probably
there.
wouldn't have been as happy with me,
Yeah.
for sure.
But also want to thank the staff. They're doing, and also all the work that on the fire booth. I want to thank Roselle. She was there every day, and also Debbie was there closing up. I think we were there almost every day, so we've seen and also the firefighter. And Mike, I want you to relay the message to all those people, because, we had the July 1st, they were on duty, and they got out the next morning, and they were there helping at the booth. I have to commend them. We have a bunch of great firefighters, and, and also this goes with behind the fire. I think this is a great thing, because when I was talking to I mentioned earlier, they had it on the news, a fire department had 12 babies. I mentioned to Roselle before we should have a picture. We had 8, but they beat us by 4. But, I think it's really great that, because I'm really for the spouses, because being, having the past experience in the military, I give great credit to my wife, the spouses, that I was gone during the Desert Storm, and and also during the summer, even though I'm not required to pull the weekend, I was there 3 months every summer, and I was traveling and inspecting other units and all that. But I want because I do think a great deal of the spouse. I think they're they just as much credit as to the firefighters. So I think this behind the fire is really great, and the kids get to know each other. So, but I want to relay the firefighters, and also for them to come help out at the breakfast at the senior center. It means a lot. I do hear feedback from the seniors, and all it takes is one senior to spread the rumor to another senior. And, talk about rumors, that's where you have to go to the seniors. They'll spread the rumors. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy?
Oh, thank you, sir. I know I asked you this last month about the PG&E outages and stuff like that. Anything new from last month that hasn't already hit the papers, and what we've done or what the city's done? I did see it may have been today's newspaper, about $20,000 a day in fuel. Did that include us, or was that just the
That
city?
did include us, and so, because we're going to work collaboratively, even the outstations are included in that fuel delivery, because One of the concerns I have is making sure that, well, a couple things. One of the concerns for us, breaking away from the city's issue, they have a lot more pumps and lift stations because they gotta, once they get water in, they gotta get it out. And any sewer that doesn't have a gravity feed has to be pumped. So there's a lot of generators, and what I've said in the paper and at their meeting was that they, it's a young city, so they prepared, and they did it right and put generators in there. We were in a flood zone, probably played a factor in it, but the city really did a good job in planning. There's one in the old part of Lathrop that needed a generator, and that was purchased, but we recognized that and identified it early. And so, but when we started doing the calculations on how much fuel we're gonna need, it's 10,000 gallons a day for a 24-hour period. And so that does include our stuff. But as we remodel and expand stations and we build stations, we did it right with Station 5. We built it with a generator that 250 is a little more than we need. Kilowatt. It does a great job. When we do Station 1, we're going to do that. Station 4 didn't have as much, but we did expand that one recently. We did apply it and used more of it because we weren't using to its best benefit. And so we really expanded that one, but we have to be thinking, this could be a norm as we go into the future. I don't see it going away. I know they're talking about modernizing, but I think there's always going to be the threat with high winds knocking down. And if they're going to shut them down, we get our power generated up there. Because that was my concern. Why are we, but yeah, our power comes from up there and then it comes down the mountain to us. So if they shut down the large ones, that's when we're going to be concerned. Nothing's changed. We're still in effect. We're still going to ramp up and do our thing and have availability. I'm going to ask because I'm not positive. We did get you guys the IDs, right, to the individuals? No? We got
Yes,
yours.
I
Did we
did.
get, Gloriana, get your IDs to you?
When?
We
No.
need to take pictures for Tosh and
Mark?
and then I'll have them for the next board meeting.
Okay, and then we'll have your IDs for you because obviously getting in and out of facilities is going to be some sort of security. We want to make sure that the board has that availability. If we have to call an emergency meeting, we will call an emergency meeting. That's an hour's notice, and we try to publish it in the paper, or not the paper, but some sort of electronic notification. It is within the Brown Act if we have to do an emergency declaration.
Now, we did IDs. When did we do that?
We did IDs. We just needed your pictures. We did take your pictures, and we have the IDs. Jeremy can
Okay,
show you.
okay.
We gave him his the other day. We
I don't have it
finalized
on me,
his.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
We did change the logo a little bit, but yeah, if we can, maybe tonight, grab their picture. They're in their blue. That'd be
I'll get
perfect.
your pictures tonight.
Yeah. And then we do a background, so all we just need is your shot. We do have your picture, and we have.
Oh, you can take another one because I lost weight.
Okay, fair enough. No, that's good. You take another picture. It's an updated picture anyways. So we're working forward with that, but yeah, that's the only thing that has changed, but everything has been included, and the outstations too. So we want to make sure we maintain fuel for the fire apparatus. There hasn't been a whole lot of action. The Board of Supervisors came down yesterday, that was in the paper today, and spoke at the city, but I haven't heard a whole lot of pre-planning for people out in the rural part. But yet they've fended for themselves for a long time, so I'm not sure. They probably have bigger generators than we got. So that's been the big push, is just to get generators and food. I got more solar stuff. My wife has really gone over the edge a little bit. We're going to be prepared. We got solar for everything almost. And then we got food in the pantry that's non-perishable, and every time we go to the store, she grabs 5 or 6 cans of whatever. And so she recommends that everybody's gonna be prepared. So, but I don't have anything else unless you have something you'd like me to look in.
No.
Piece of memories.
Yeah. Well, those are always good. Yeah.
You also mentioned you weren't able to make the conference because of this California Assembly. Do you have any updates on that?
I do. That went, so it went in, it's already passed the Senate and Senate floor, went into Assembly. It's gone through it was gonna go to the local government and they passed it. They pushed it off. I don't think they had anything to say, that committee. So it went to the Health Committee. That did pass with a 13-0, 2 abstentions. and now it's going to go in front of appropriations. So I think if it's going to cost money, then they meet on it, and if not, it could either, they could meet in the committee, they could push it into a consent calendar, which then just gets adopted, basically like our consent calendar just goes through, but nobody goes and speaks or does anything. Or they can just push it through to the floor. So it still has to go to the floor for a vote, and then obviously to the governor's office and get signed. So there's quite a few steps left to, go, but it looks like it's going well. There was some amendments to it, though. I didn't get to read them all, but I think it's going to work out for everybody, because there was some stuff for quality control, and I know, like for instance, J-Rug and Fresno, and there's one other one in Southern California that does do a private company does do the dispatching for them. I know that those individuals will be able to stay. So it's still got to go through one more committee before it gets final, and then it may get changes there too. So it looks pretty good. I think it's going to be all around for everybody. We'll see. Needs to be a big system, man. We need to all work together. That's what I say. I've always said that from the beginning, though. But anyways, so it's working its way through.
Very good.
Anything other than that?
No,
No.
have not.
Thank you.
I am very happy to see all the people that have advanced up the ranks, and the two new hires, and I was disappointed to not hear Station 33 in any of their assignments.
Yeah, I know.
So, that was the one station that was left out, but.
Well, that's because they get to bid.
Yes, I understand. Understood. So anyways, I'm sure they'll be filling shifts overtime over there.
Oh, they will. You'll see them out there.
Walker was there today.
Walker was there today, she said.
Was he? There we go.
That's it?
That's it. Thank you.
All right. Try to get through this. I wrote this down. Life has unexpected journeys for us, and we never know where the life's paths are going to lead us. I'm relocating out of the Lathrop-Manteca Fire District. With that said, I'll be resigning as chairman and board member of the LMFD family immediately after this meeting. In the fire service, one of the many sayings is leave it better than you found it. In the last 3 years on the board, we have accomplished that with hard work of the employees, firefighters, fire chief, and this board. I'll be on the sidelines now as LMFD's biggest cheerleader. Mark, you suddenly step up as chairman. I know you'll do fine with your city council experience. To the rest of the fire board, continue our mission, and LMFD will continue to be the best agency in the area. Chief and admin staff, thank you for all the assistance needed to move the fire district forward. To our firefighters, continue the good work. Our community loves you. LMFD has always been and always will have a special place in my heart. Hopefully life's paths will redirect back to the LMFD family. I won't be a stranger. As time permits, I'll stop in, say hi, and share hugs. I want to thank the entire LMFD family in making me an even better fire service professional. I'd also like to say thank you to the residents, business owners, and all the stakeholders for their support. With no other fire district business, I'll close the monthly board meeting for July until August 15th, 7 o'clock here at City Hall.
Wow. You got us all shocked here.